It's another player signing for the Cincinnati Cyclones, and this time a new face to the Clones, not a new face to the ECHL. He's been around a little bit. He's been around with a lot of different teams. It's Billy Constantinou. And Billy, let me jump right into this. So some of these are repeats, like you played for Atlanta one year, you played for them again the following year, you played for Wichita 2 years in a row, but collectively you have either been traded, moved, packed your suitcase up 8 different times. There's a couple of AHL teams sprinkled in there, which we'll talk about. But man, how is it just, I guess, walking around with your hockey stick in one hand and suitcase in the other? It feels like this is kind of how things have gone to start your pro career.
Yeah, it's kind of a little different than junior hockey, but you enjoy it. It's part of the game. Kind of always moving around, stuff like that, meeting new faces. I enjoy it. It's something you kind of just become accustomed to. So I don't mind it at all. It's a game I love, so it kind of comes with it, you know.
Some fans might, and I agree. I mean, it's part of the territory. Like everybody in hockey is going to move around, especially when you get to the pro game. Some fans might sit there and be like, okay, wait a minute, he's been traded a lot or he's moved around a lot. What does that mean? Well, I can tell you right now, for anybody wondering, like, you're a damn good player and you're 22 years old. You put up points as a defenseman and you're skating. I mean, as a guy who's watched you play against the Cyclones, scored a goal against the Cyclones when you were with the Iowa Heartlanders a couple of seasons ago. There's a lot of talent in you. And again, it's such a young age, which I'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. But I know I'm kind of describing your game. I mean, how would you describe your game now that you have a couple of years under your belt in professional hockey?
Yeah, for sure. As I've kind of gotten older and matured a bit, my game's kind of changed a bit. I like to, be offensive and stuff like that. Kind of be a little fancy at times. But at the end of the day, I just like to help the team win, really, and just kind of be that guy that the team can, depend on certain situations. Like if we're down a goal in the third period and we kind of need to get one late. I kind of like to help the team in ways like that. And even just as a role playing guy, just all around, I just try to do my best to help the team win. But
Well, I know you have that obviously flashing act to you, though, in terms of the points which we referenced. As a kid growing up, I loved the offensive defenseman. I looked at a guy, even though he played a little bit of wing as well, like Dustin Bufflin was one that always stuck out to me as just so fun to watch play. I imagine you, a hockey nut like all of us, if we're in this sport at this point, probably had at least one or two blue liners, maybe one in particular that you would even say, okay, I emulate my style off of. I don't know if I'm accurate with that or not, but like when we think of that, you think of NHL D-men, I mean, is there someone that sticks out that you'd either compare yourself to or you looked up to watching the game growing up?
for sure, like growing up, I really liked like Drew Doughty, Eric Carlson, kind of guys like that. Just the way they kind of see the game and the plays they make. And then I also just players in general. Like my favorite player growing up was Jaromir Jagr. He's kind of an older guy, forward, but I just kind of looked up to him. He was kind of, played the game for a long time, still playing, and I kind of want to follow in that direction. I guess it's what I love, and I kind of want to do it as long as I can. So.
I love that answer, especially because, and this isn't about me, this is about you, but Jaromir Jagr, my overall favorite player of all time. It took one season of seeing him in Philadelphia to fall in love with his game, and he was putting up crazy points at 39 years old in the NHL then. So he's obviously one of the most iconic players ever. Again, love that answer. Here's another one that I would love to get an answer on. So before we announce your signing, James Hardy is being announced. And James is a little similar than you. I don't know if you guys have ever met yet. He's 21, you're 22. He was in the OHL. You were in the OHL, a couple different teams, Kingston, Niagara, to name a couple. But on top of that, he's making the choice to jump directly from junior into pro hockey. Same move you made entering the 21-22 season. And at that point in time, kids are contemplating, do I want to jump pro or do I want to go the collegiate route? Another thing Hart's kind of told us is that, the OHL, they offer a pretty robust education plan and package and opportunity for their players. So I know that's not an easy decision for almost anybody. And you're 2 years removed from it, but if you can kind of rewind us to when you were the then 20-year-old, the then, and I know I'm like 99% positive that at the start of that season, I think you were the youngest defenseman in the ECHL at 21, 22 seasons. So, can you kind of rewind a little bit, tail of the tape for the Cyclones fans? What led to you
Yeah,
deciding, hey, I'm going to make this choice?
for sure. So it was kind of right after COVID, pretty much. I remember I was on the bus actually in the OHL going on a road trip, and we kind of got the call that the season was getting canceled for a couple weeks. So we had to drive 4 hours back, and then we packed our stuff and went home. It was only supposed to be a 2 week break, but it ended up being over a year, and I ended up missing my fourth year due to that. I didn't get to play at all. And a lot of guys were kind of skeptical. They weren't sure if the league was going to start up again the year after that when I ended up leaving and going to Iowa. So it was just one of those decisions. Like, I was kind of missing the game, kind of tired of sitting at home in my room and stuff like that. I kind of wanted to get going again and get back to normal life. But yeah, it was kind of just a decision I made. I felt ready, I guess. And it was always kind of a dream of mine, a goal of mine to play pro hockey. So I thought it was the right step in the right direction.
You talk about making the right step, and then we talked about Yager, and I'm thinking like, man, you're going into year 3 here. I can't wait to see how good you are in 15, 20 years, because that sounds like that's how long you're going to at least be playing, if you can have it your way. Let's kind of jump in here, Billy, to, I guess, this third year. I think, and maybe it's just a bias, but if I'm you, man, I got to be pretty excited about this opportunity. Like, you talk about playing, but you also mentioned how one of the things that you've really honed in on is just wanting to help a team win.
Yeah,
You're coming to a team, and let's call it for what it is. Some of the teams you played for, I think you probably knew the writing was on the wall that they were not going to be contending teams.
sure.
And that's just the reality of the game. It still gave you a great opportunity to blossom and develop as a player. But now you're coming to a team that definitely has some expectations. I mean, the Cyclones are defending Central Division champions. They made it to the second round of the Kelly Cup playoffs last year. I know you haven't had the chance to experience playoff hockey since, I think, your first year in the O. I'm sure you're excited to get back to the postseason, but how do you feel about this opportunity here, knowing that I think there's a pretty heavy standard and expectation that this team isn't just looking to sneak their way in the playoffs. The Cyclones believe they can bring a Kelly Cup back to this city.
For sure. I'm definitely super excited. I think it's a great opportunity. There's a lot of great players. Like, even I remember coming to Cincinnati all the time and playing the Cyclones, and it was always a great atmosphere. The city's amazing, and I always really enjoyed it. And obviously, being defending division champs and stuff like that, like, it's a big I don't know how to put it. It's just like you gotta hold your own, and there's a lot of great players, and obviously guys want to win. And coming with that, guys are going to be holding each other accountable, and I like that because it betters everyone at the end of the day. And at the end of the day, we all just want to win. So I'm looking forward to it.
Let me ask you about Jason Payne. When did that conversation materialize? Hockey is such a small world. You're an Ontario boy. I know Payner's from there, so I don't know. I've talked to him, and I mean, some of the guys on this team he was skating with when they were 5 years old.
Yeah,
Some of them, it was just a phone call. It was an agent. It was that kind of connection. Can you sort of expand on the opportunity and tell me, when did you guys first start talking, and how did those conversations go?
yeah, for sure. First time I met Painter, he was coaching minor hockey a year older than my age group. And I would get called up to the older team, and I played against his team a few times. So that's when I kind of first met him. And then when I went to Niagara, he was kind of like our skills coach, and he would come out to practice and stuff. So I would work with him and things like that there. So we kind of just known each other and stuff like that, and skated over the years. And then obviously playing against the Cyclones in the past, and yeah, we kind of just talked. He gave me a phone call over the summer and asked if I was interested, and right away I definitely knew it was where I wanted to go. So
One of the things, I mean, you mentioned with Painter at the time, he was a skills coach then. But I will tell you, one of his skills present day is helping players not only get the most out of them, but helping the player here in Cincinnati get the most out of what that individual is looking for. And correct me if I'm wrong, I mentioned the plethora of teams you've played for. Two of them were in the American Hockey League, Chicago Wolves 2 years ago, and last year with the San Jose Barracuda. And a 22-year-old, being a 22-year-old defenseman, that tells me this is a kid that probably is really hoping that what he hones in here at the ECHL level is going to present an opportunity at the next level. I'm sure you want to get to a point where it's not a cup of coffee in the AHL. It's a longer stay. Again, correct me if I'm wrong there. I think Painter is looking at these guys and saying, if I can get you to the next level, I'm going to do it. Where are you with your goals? Putting up points, helping teams win. But I got to think trying to get to the next level is the top of that list too.
for sure, it definitely is. Obviously, it'd be nice to play in the AHL a bit more. But obviously there's a lot of work that comes with that, and there's things I need to work on. And I think Painter could definitely help me with that. And that's why I kind of am super excited as well, because I know when I'm coming to Cincinnati, I'm going to develop as a whole. And at the same time, I'm going to be on a good team. I'm going to be with great players and guys holding each other accountable. So I'm looking forward to it.
One of those stops in the AHL with San Jose, you ended up sharing a locker room with Jalen Smerrick for a few weeks. I don't know if you guys were kind of like, hey, here's a couple of coast dudes that are trying to grind our teeth out in California, but did you get a chance to interact with him at all? And did you, or do you have any relationships with any current or former Cyclones?
Yeah, for sure. We were there together for quite a bit, and we were actually roommates in the hotel on road trips and stuff quite a couple times. So yeah, we got pretty close there. He's a great guy, obviously a great player. But yeah, we had a lot of interactions, obviously, through that. And yeah, we still keep in touch. When I signed, he reached out, and he was also talking to me a bit, like over the off season, just catching up, things like that. So we talk once in a while and just kind of see what's going on in each other's lives. But yeah, I'm excited to obviously be teammates once again with them.
Yeah, I wonder. And now my only guess is I just don't know that you guys will play on the same D pairing together, because I think you are both a little similar. You obviously know, having seen his game is very offensive minded, you the same way. So, but who knows? I'll tell you what, it'd be one heck of a duo on a power play. I don't know if you ever think about stuff like
Sure.
that, but I know you love power plays, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's why we get along pretty well, because we're both similar in that sense. So
It'll be cool to see. And obviously, can't wait to see the Cyclones getting here with Billy Constantinou come October 21st at his first faceoff at Heritage Bank Center as the Cyclones get ready for a big season against the Wheeling Nailers. Billy, before we let you go, I guess one more question. We're talking a lot about hockey, the X's and O's. Tell me a little bit about you. I'll ask you two things related, I guess, to Cincinnati. I mean, first off, you're wearing, it's backwards, but it's a Major League Baseball hat. An Ontario guy leads me to believe there's probably a Blue Jay on the front of it. But the Cincinnati Reds are here. I mean, that is, a baseball town in this area. I don't know if you're a football guy. Obviously, you got the Bengals. What's your food palette like? Are you going to try Skyline Chili? Take me through that little about me page outside of the ice.
yeah, so you definitely hit that one on the nail. It is a Blue Jays hat. But I like the Blue Jays, obviously being a hometown team and stuff like that. I actually kind of just grew up liking the White Sox, though, as tough as that sounds, considering they're not, too great right now. But yeah, I'm a big baseball guy. I definitely want to get out to some Reds games. I love football too. I'm actually a Raiders fan, so
Okay.
pretty tough in both boats. But obviously Cincinnati has a lot of great teams and things like that. So I'm really looking forward to, hopefully getting out to some different games with some of the guys. And I definitely will probably be trying some chili for sure.
I think fans will look forward to it. We cannot wait for your review of Skyline, and also you're going to love the Cincy sports scene. And look, unfortunately, man, as a fan, your White Sox and Raiders are not doing that great, but you're coming to a team that, at least when you're playing, You should have fun, and this should be a really great season. So we'll let you go. Enjoy the rest of your summer, man. There's not much time left in it, believe it or not. We're going to be here for training camp before you know it. So once again, Billy Constantinou, newest signing for the Cyclones. He's a great talker, too. This is going to be a fun year. Billy, thanks for the time, and we'll talk again soon.
So thanks for having me.